The house I paid for? Her voice was sharp, too sharp. The kind of sharp that cuts before you even realize you're bleeding. Go ahead and leave, she dared me, her chin tilted, her perfume too strong for this late in the evening. You won't survive a week without me. She thought she was untouchable. Her tone wasn't fear, wasn't desperation, it was arrogance. I didn't answer. Words were useless. I simply placed my house keys on the marble counter, the house I had paid for. The silence of the gesture was heavier than any argument I could have offered. She smirked at first, as if she'd won. But when I walked out, without slamming the door, without so much as a glance over my shoulder, her smirk faltered. That night I drove without direction. The city lights blurred. Every red light felt like a judgment, every green a dare. The hum of the engine drowned out her last words. The next morning, my phone stayed quiet. Hers didn't. Her boss called, twice, then 3 times. Her father's number flashed across the screen, back to back, like an alarm that wouldn't stop ringing. And then the real message came. A voicemail. Her father's voice broken and furious. "The bank just called us. What did you make him do?" His voice cracked with panic. That was the moment she realized what I had already known. I was never the one who needed her. She was the one who couldn't survive without me. It didn't happen overnight. Betrayal rarely does. It starts small. A glance too long at her phone. A laugh that isn't meant for you. A scent of cologne on her when she comes home late. Not yours, never yours. I had noticed the shift months ago. She stopped asking about my day, but she remembered every detail about her meetings. She forgot what I told her, but quoted lines from her boss like scripture. Her eyes didn't wander. They anchored. Not to me, to something or someone else. I didn't accuse her. Not yet. Accusations are sloppy, emotional. They give the enemy warning. And she had become exactly that. An enemy inside my walls. The walls I built. The house I paid for. The empire she flaunted as her own. I told myself it was paranoia, stress, fatigue. But the lies piled too neatly to ignore. The dinners she skipped, the late-night calls, the way her father defended her, almost too quickly, when I raised the smallest concern. Blood protects blood, and money protects secrets. Still, I stayed quiet. I smiled when I had to. I played the part of the oblivious husband, even as the evidence gathered in the shadows of my mind. Her betrayal wasn't just infidelity. No, that would have been too simple. It was something deeper, something designed. The whispers of my own bank shares being reallocated. Investment accounts moved without my signature. Subtle but deliberate. And always, always, her boss's name lingered at the edge of it all, like smoke before the fire. I began to watch. Not her, not directly. That would have been too obvious. I watched the numbers, the transfers, the emails she didn't know I could access. Her father's firm, her boss's fund. The two of them connected by paper trails dressed as legitimate transactions. My money was the thread weaving them together. She wasn't just betraying me in the bedroom. She was betraying me in the boardroom. Every smile, every laugh, every perfume-drenched lie was currency. She was investing herself into him, into them. I hired no detective. I didn't need one. Numbers don't lie. People do. Bank records arrived in quiet envelopes I intercepted before she could touch them. I studied them at night, under a single lamp, while she slept beside me, oblivious. Phone logs told me where she really was. Calls at hours she thought I wouldn't notice. Voicemails deleted before dawn. I didn't confront her. Confrontation gives power to the guilty. I let her believe I was blind. And while she was busy performing her betrayal, I was busy rewriting the play. Every investment account, every joint signature, every trust in her name. I stripped them, quietly, legally, ruthlessly. It wasn't rage that drove me. Rage is loud. Rage is messy. This was precision. She believed she held the upper hand, when in truth, her grip was on a blade I had already turned inward. The silence between us became a battlefield. She smiled across the dinner table, thinking she'd won. I smiled back, knowing she'd already lost. The truth arrived in an envelope, a single sheet, crisp, final. DNA results. Not of a child. I had no child to test. This wasn't about bloodlines. It was a different kind of test, a financial audit, one that tied every missing dollar, every hidden transfer, directly to her login credentials. Her fingerprints all over what she believed was invisible. She had been siphoning my wealth into accounts linked to her boss, with her father's oversight. The perfect triangle: lover, boss, blood. I waited until evening, until she was dressed in silk, sipping wine like nothing was amiss. I placed the envelope on the table between us. No words, just the paper. She laughed at first. "What's this? Another bill?" Then she opened it. Her face shifted. Smirk, confusion, fear, and finally, silence. She looked at me, searching, calculating, but I didn't blink, didn't speak. Her mouth opened, then closed again. She tried to explain, but her words tangled. Her voice cracked. "You don't understand. It's not what it looks like." The desperate line of every guilty soul. But I understood perfectly, more than she ever thought I would. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't call her names. I simply slid my house keys across the table, the same keys I'd left once before. "I already left once," I said, my tone flat, detached. "This time, it's you." She froze. The wineglass trembled in her hand. I stood, adjusted my jacket, and walked toward the door. Her voice cracked behind me. "Wait! Where are you going?" "To the bank," I answered, calm as winter. That night, while she panicked, her phone exploded with calls. Her father, her boss, their voices laced with fury, fear, desperation. "The bank just called us. What did you make him do?" The empire they had tried to siphon collapsed overnight. Accounts frozen, assets locked, the law leaning on their shoulders with the weight of my evidence. And her? She was left with nothing. Not the house, not the money, not the man she thought she had played. Just silence, and the echo of the door closing behind me. Revenge isn't fire, it isn't chaos, it's silence, cold, permanent. I didn't destroy her with rage, I destroyed her with truth. No screaming, no violence, just the quiet removal of everything she thought she owned. Everything she thought was hers had always been mine. She had gambled with betrayal. She lost. And me? I didn't win. Winning implies a game. This was never a game. This was survival. As I walked into the city night, the weight on my chest dissolved into nothing. I didn't need her. I never did. And she would never survive without me. The last sound she heard from me was the click of a door locking behind her, the sound of a life she could never re-enter.